Today we're going to list the top 5 harmony hit songs of the 1960s. First off, the 1960s was one of the most incredibly creative decades of music. Songwriting was getting much more unique and sophisticated. The guitar had become the absolute undisputed dominant instrument, and harmony singing came to the forefront like it never had before, hence our episode. So to celebrate this amazing decade, we are going to list the top 5 harmony hit songs of the 1960s. But first, some ground rules. Number 1. Was the song a big hit? I know this is an obvious one, but I think we need to say this one out loud. The song needs to have been a significant hit to influence the trajectory of popular music going forward. Every up-and-coming songwriter needs to have absorbed this song as part of their musical journey going forward. Seriously. Number 2. Is the harmony inventive and unusual? The part itself. Does the harmony in the song help make the song special? It can't be just a beautiful background. Number 3. And this is one of the most important ones, at least to me. Do the singers have a unique and special quality when their voices combine that no one else can replicate? Think about that. Meaning, does the combination of these particular voices create a special sound that only these singers can achieve? Let's get started. So at number 5, I'm going to put the Hollies' Bus Stop. Written by Graham Goulden, it was performed by Alan Clark, Graham Nash, Tony Hicks, Bobby Elliott, and Bernie Calvert, who had just replaced Eric Haydock.
Every morning I would see her waiting at the stop. Sometimes she'd shop and she would show me what she bought.
So, was the song a big hit? Bus Stop was a massive hit on both sides of the Atlantic, reaching number 5 in both the UK and the US pop charts. Although the Hollies had already had a number 1 song in the UK with I'm Alive, they were still virtually unknown in the US. Bus Stop changed all of that. Now the whole world knew the Hollies and knew about their amazing harmonies. It's also one of my absolute favorite tracks from the 1960s. The song is incredible. Second criteria. Was the harmony inventive and unusual? Does the harmony in the song help make the song special? Yes, without question. These guys were masters. The harmony arrangement is breathtaking. I'm sorry, we can only play one of their songs, but the Hollies were an incredible band. And our final question, what about the blend? Does the combination of these voices create something exceptional? Remember, a lot of people can sing harmony, but we are talking about the God-given sound of the singers themselves and the blend that they create. And the answer is a resounding yes, even hell yes. The blend of Alan Clark, Tony Hicks, and Graham Nash had was exceptional. Just close your eyes and concentrate on the sound of the harmonies during the chorus. It's incredible. And sometimes we like a song, but we don't really focus on the details. But the vocals, the sound of the blend, is pure magic. But I'm going to take it a step further and give extra credit to Graham Nash, because he's awesome. We all know that after the Hollies, Graham went on to sing in Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Graham's voice is on another level. The breathiness, the character, the sound, he has it all. When he sings with anyone, it's going to sound brilliant. Listen to as many songs as you can with Graham singing on them. There is always an element beyond even talent for a singer, and it's their God-given sound. Graham has that extra gift from the heavens. And as I've mentioned before, my father's favorite harmony singer in the world is Graham Nash. There's a reason he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice. Now at number 4, I'm putting the Mamas and the Papas' California Dreamin', written by John Phillips and Michelle Phillips.
All the leaves are brown, and the sky is gray.
The Mamas and the Papas are an unusual band, as they had 4 singers. They consisted of 2 guys, John Phillips and Denny Doherty, and 2 girls, Michelle Phillips and Mama Cass. During the 60s, there was a lot of folk music, and with that, a lot of vocal experimentation. The Mamas and the Papas were a product of this. They have an unusual lineup, but the end result was some amazingly creative songs, and more germane to this conversation, incredible unique vocal blends and sounds that no one in pop music had really heard before. So let's get back to our criteria. Was California Dreamin' a big hit? Yes. The fact that most people even today know the song intrinsically is a huge testament to the song's perfection on every level, not to mention that there was an incredible fascination with all things California at this time. Next, are the harmonies an integral part of the song? Meaning, do the harmonies contribute significantly to the song's success? Without question. You cannot imagine the song being performed by anyone other than the Mamas and the Papas, and in the exact way it was executed. As unusual as it was having 2 girls and 2 guys as singers in a pop band, the harmony arrangements were brilliant. Third, do the voices of John Phillips, Michelle Phillips, Mama Cass, and Denny Doherty create a unique blend with their voices? Absolutely. The blend of John Phillips, Danny Doherty, and Michelle Phillips and Mama Cass is essentially harmonic perfection. To me, it's like their voices were all born to fit together. I know the band was designed that way, but there's no question the vocal blend was phenomenal. Number 3, the Beatles. Oh boy. The Beatles, I Want to Hold Your Hand. As everyone knows, the Beatles are the best-selling band in the history of the Milky Way galaxy and probably the rest of the universe. They redefined songwriting and pop music almost single-handedly. But as many of you Beatlemaniacs know, they came out of the gate with harmony all over their songs. And not just simple harmonies, but deeply complicated harmonies, unexpected harmonies, and harmonies that set the standard from that point on. I spoke to several of my friends who are fellow music nerds to try to come up with the best Beatles song that strongly features harmonies, and it was honestly next to impossible. Because they did so many things that were unconventional and different. But it's safe to say that in the earlier Beatles singles, Paul and John really pushed the pop harmony formula. Love Me Do, She Loves You, Help, and my personal favorite, If I Fell, which shockingly was a B-side to And I Love Her. If I Fell did chart, but it only went to number 53 on the Hot 100, so it doesn't make our list. So I know whatever song I pick, it'll be controversial, but I'm going to go with their first U.S. hit, I Want to Hold Your Hand. Was it a big hit? Yeah, I Want to Hold Your Hand was the best-selling single of 1964. The Beatles appeared on The Ed Sullivan Show on February 9th of that year, and the United States lost its collective mind, and Beatlemania was officially a new word in the dictionary. So, yeah, ridiculous. Was the harmony unique, and was it critical to the song's success? Absolutely. In fact, the harmony was so unique and different that sheet music publishers had a very hard time figuring out who even sang harmony, let alone who sang lead. Even the Beatles didn't know because John and Paul sang in unison for most of the song and switched off on so many others. They were one of the first bands to essentially have 2 lead singers. And I Want to Hold Your Hand was just the tip of the iceberg for what was to come from the lads from Liverpool. And pop music was never going to be the same. Was there a special blend and a unique sound that occurred when the Beatles sang? Yes, John and Paul's voices are very different, but extremely complementary. I wouldn't say that the blend itself is as unique as some of the others on this list, but because of the complicated way that Paul and John combine their voices, switching off lead singing duties, even during a single song, the Beatles were incredible. Moreover, the songwriting was so unique, each song was structured to take advantage of the fact that they possessed 2 of the best pop singers in one band. John and Paul sang in unison sometimes, one sang below the other times above. The common thread was that they did whatever was best for the song, however unorthodox by traditional standards. Again, there's a reason that they are the best-selling band in the history of the universe. I'm sure most of you already love the Beatles, but take a moment and just listen to the harmonies by themselves, and perhaps you will find another reason to love the Fab Four. Unfortunately, we can't play any Beatles songs on the show, or Paul McCartney himself might come through the door and smack us. Is Paul here? At number 2, I would have to go with Simon and Garfunkel's Sound of Silence.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Because
And let's go through our criteria. A big hit? Yes. It went all the way to number 1 in January of 1966. If there could have been a number above number 1 for this song, it would have gone there. It was a song that rose above everything else when it came out. It was such a big hit that in later years it kind of disappeared from the radio. Sometimes songs are so big and heard so much that the public kind of needs a break. Crazy as that might sound. Sound of Silence was a brilliant song from the very beginning. If Simon and Garfunkel had put out the song and ended it after the second chorus, it would have been a smash hit, no question. but it comes back for what is essentially its third act. This is where the song becomes almost transcendent. It goes from a great song to one of the greatest songs of all time. So yes, it was a great song and a massive hit. Was the harmony inventive? Yes. Paul's part, if you listen to it, is almost a monotone. If you sing the song and sing along with Paul's part, it'll sound a bit strange contextually. But then you realize how incredibly brilliant it is. It allows Art to soar and create some of the most amazing splits and vocal textures in all of pop music. And again, in the third act of the song, Art has all the room in the world to showcase his God-given talents. It's a tour de force like no one had ever heard before. Really, there are very few songs that I can think of that end with such a vocal crescendo. I managed to see them perform a few times when they toured with the Everly Brothers, and every time Simon and Garfunkel did that song, Art brought the house down. People had tears in their eyes, and everyone was on their feet, me included. So yes, the harmony was inventive. Do the singers have a special blend that separates them from other bands? Yes. One of the things that made Simon and Garfunkel so powerful was the fact that their voices were so different. Inasmuch as they looked different from one another and they sounded completely different, and that is a feature and an incredible gift to all of us. Inasmuch as Paul Simon was a singularly talented songwriter, Art was a gifted singer. But beyond that, when they sang together, it was a third voice that came through for all the fans. Inasmuch as someone else could sing the songs, there was literally no way to sound like the lush, ethereal blend of Art and Paul. They multiplied each other's talents in a way very few bands have ever been able to do from a purely vocal point of view. The songs were brilliant. I consider Paul Simon one of the greatest songwriters of the 20th century. But with Art's vocals, which are simply heaven sent, you get something that almost feels like a cheat code to the world of the angels. Like something that escaped heaven, a beauty that we as fans didn't know existed until they showed it to us. I'm a fan, obviously, and I'm sure you are too. So I urge you to love the details as much as the overall song in its completeness. Number 1, The Beach Boys. In my room, I get around, good vibrations. Number 1 is a 3-way tie, and it could easily have been a 5-way or a 10-way tie. That's because there is no one like the Beach Boys in the 1960s. No one did harmony like the Beach Boys. It's really not even close.
In my room, in my room,
The sophistication of the Beach Boys' vocal arrangements will probably never be matched in a top 40 song ever again. So again, to go down our criteria, was the song or songs a big hit? Yes. For those keeping score at home, the Beach Boys had 4 number 1 hits and 36 top 40 hits, and they sold over 100 million records. So all of these songs were huge hits, and it significantly influenced music going forward. Paul McCartney cites Pet Sounds as one of the greatest albums ever recorded, and a huge influence on the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper. So, yeah. Is the harmony inventive and unusual? Oh yes. There is no one who comes close to the harmony arrangements and level of sophistication of the Beach Boys. In fact, the vocals of the Beach Boys are the whole arrangement for the most part. The musical instruments are simply background. This is one of the rare occasions where the job of the drums, guitar, and bass are to stay out of the way as much as possible, while still playing on the track. If you listen to some of the more sophisticated arrangements, it's not easy to find a place to play guitar, and that's not going to get in the way of the vocals in the song itself. That's how incredible the harmonies and vocal arrangements are. Is the blend special? The answer is, without question. As many of you know, the Beach Boys initially consisted of 3 brothers, Brian, Dennis, and Carl Wilson, and cousin Mike Love and friend Al Jardine. You can certainly hear the brothers' close sibling sound. Voices similar but not identical. That's always been a special sound. And then you add their cousin Mike Love and their friend Al Jardine, and you really have something. Not only extraordinary, but also unrepeatable. As we have discussed, the Beach Boys' vocal arrangements are on another level from nearly anyone else. And then to add in the extraordinary sibling harmony element and extraordinary singing ability of all the members. Not only are the parts difficult to sing from a technical point of view, the range of the vocals themselves is just phenomenal. I know we have all sang along to Beach Boys songs in the car before, but the next time you hear one of their songs, pick out a specific voice. Follow it all the way through. The Beach Boys are the kings of harmony for the sake of this countdown. If you have any thoughts on our countdown, please leave your comments below. Let me know what are your top 5 harmony hits of the 1960s. I love this period of music and would love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, it would mean a great deal if you would take a moment to subscribe to our channel. It would mean a lot to everybody here. Until next time, God bless.